do my quarterly TBR. Now, if you are new to my channel, something that I'm trying this year is instead of doing a monthly TBR, I'm doing a quarterly TBR. So every 3 months, I have picked some books and I fill up this shelf. And along with that, I have started doing a TBR jar challenge. So in my TBR jar, I have different topics like read a hardback, read a classic, you know, those kind of things. And so I pull out a few of those, and so it also has given me a wider variety of books that I am reading, and so I've really been enjoying doing this year. It's been just different and new, and I've been really enjoying it. So before I fill up this here shelf, let's give a recap of the books that were on the shelf from the last 3 months, and the books that I've read, books that I did not read, and the challenges that they fulfilled. So we'll start with the books that I did not get to. The first book being Black by Ted Dekker, and this was also the challenge for Reread a Book. Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb, the second book in the Farseer trilogy. Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is also the challenge for Read a Book that was not written in the 21st century. To Whisper Her Name by Tamara Alexander, and the last book that I did not read is Firefight by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the Reckoners series. Okay, so moving along to the books that I did read, and now I have already done discussions and reviews on all of these books, so I'll put a link down to any of the videos that I talk about these books, along with the time, so if you want to know my thoughts on a specific book, you can go check out those there videos. The first book that I read off of the shelf was Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and this also fulfilled the challenge of read a young adult novel. The second book that I read off the shelf is I've Got Your Number by Sofia Kinsella. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and this also fulfilled the challenge of read a standalone novel. The third book that I read was The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing, fantastic. You should go read it. The fourth book is Across the Universe by Beth. Revis. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and this fulfilled the challenge of read a fantasy novel. The fifth book is The Awakening by Angela Hunt. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and this fulfilled the challenge of read a book that is in paperback. And then the last and final book that I read that was off of this shelf was the 7th book in the Harry Potter series, The Deathly Hallows, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and it was so enjoyable. Those are the books that were on my TBR shelf from last quarter, so let's get started on the books that I have chosen for this quarter. And I've already chosen 6 challenges out of my TBR jar, and the way I did this quarter was I picked a couple books for most of these challenges, and I have a couple other books that I'm going to put up there. So let's get started on the books that I am putting back up on my shelf, and the first book is The Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb, the second book in the Farseer trilogy. I'm a part of the Hop Along group on Goodreads that is hosted by Sam from Sam's Nonsense, and I am like 5 books behind. So this is the first book that is going back up on the shelf. The second book that is going back up on the shelf is To Whisper Her Name by Tamara Alexander, the first book in the Belmead Plantation series, and I have already read this book, but I've only reread this book I think twice. I really wanted to reread this book because I can't remember a whole lot about this book, and so I'm looking forward to rereading this and to getting back into a Tamara Alexander book because her books are so fantastic. Okay, so moving on to the challenges. The first challenge that I drew was actually a challenge that was on last time that I put back in that I didn't accomplish, and that was to read a book that it was not written in the 21st century. And the first book that I'm putting up there is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've been reading this book I don't even know how long. I'm enjoying everything that I've read so far, and I just really want to finish this book so I can continue on in this series. And then the second book that I chose for that challenge is Emma by Jane Austen. I really enjoy the story that I know of Emma. I just have never read the actual book, and so I'm looking forward to reading this. This is actually going to be, if I finish this, which I hope I will, this will actually be the first Jane Austen book that I have accomplished of reading. I really should rectify that. The next challenge that I drew was to read a historical fiction novel, and I actually didn't have any historical fiction on my shelf, and so I could have went to the library, but I had a coupon at Barnes & Noble and some birthday money that was burning a hole in my pocket, and so I decided to go and buy a book, and the book that I chose was In the Time of Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This is set in the Dominican Republic, and it just sounds really interesting. I am looking forward to reading this. I've never read anything by Julia Alvarez, and I've never read anything that is set in the Dominican Republic, so I'm looking forward to reading a book that is set in a different country, and looking forward to reading a book that sounds really interesting. And then the next challenge that I drew was to read a book that was picked by my husband Michael, and he chose The Airfare by Jasper Fjord. So I'm looking forward to reading it, and it's always interesting when I'm reading something that my husband has chosen, because we have similar tastes, but then there are times when we don't really have similar tastes. And so we will see how this goes. So that is The Airfare by Jasper Fjord. The next challenge that I drew was to read a book that was written by a male author, and I chose a couple for this one. And the first one is Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. This is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I absolutely loved Lies of Locke, Lamora, and I had to go and buy this book. And I'm so looking forward to getting back into this world and seeing where Locke Lamora is going, and the book ended so well, and I'm just so excited about this. And it looks like there's going to be some ships and maybe some pirates, and I'm really looking forward to reading this book. And the other book that I chose that is written by a male author, that is Jacobi by William Ritter. This has been compared to like Sherlock Holmes meets Doctor Who, and I mean, those two combinations sound fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this book. I've been wanting to read it for a while, and so I'm hoping it will be good. Hoping. Okay, and the last challenge that I drew was to read an ebook. I have several books on my Nook that I just haven't read. I tend to forget about my Nook half the time, and so I am really excited about this challenge. And the first book that I chose off of my Nook is Undeniably Yours by Becky Wade. This is, you know, a typical contemporary romance novel about this girl who I cannot remember her name right now, whose father has passed away, and she has inherited his huge oil company, and she has to take part in running this business, and she doesn't really want to. And then there's a guy that she starts befriending. That's basically, you know. So it sounds just really cute and really fun and easy, and I really enjoy stories like that, and it should be a good time. And then the second book that I chose is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd, and I've watched the movie and I've been wanting to read the book. I really loved the movie. I thought the movie was just so poignant, and it just really, I don't know, it's just really interesting and just really intriguing, and just really heartwarming. And so I'm looking forward to reading the book and seeing what I think. Okay guys, that concludes my TBR for this quarter, so July, August, and September, and I'm looking forward to reading all of these books. If you have read any of them and there are some that you think that I should start with first, let me know down below, or what you thought about any of them. Just no spoilers, and guys, I hope you're having a great reading month, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye!